Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Chanting. I'm Zayna.
I'm Father Chris, and as you can see, Billy decided to join us again this week. We're excited to have him back in the loop here.
So today we are going to take a look at Tone 7.
Tone 7, I know I say this almost every week, is also one of my favorites. I absolutely love this one. It has a really major and uplifting sound, and it's just a lot of fun to sing. It really gets you kind of excited. It's based off of the Ga, or the Fa, and it often rests on the Zo. And so the Ison is also on the Ga, because that's the major note, and that's what you're always going to come back to. And the apikima would be ni, ga, do, fa. And so one hymn that you guys should all know really well, that we do a lot of times after church, is "Who is so great a God as our God?" So I'm going to go ahead and sing that. That's in tone 7. So to get started, I'll do the apikima again. Ni, ga, do, fa. Who is so great a God as our God? Thou art our God who workest wonders.
So another one that you all should know really well, because it's coming up pretty soon in the summer, is the troparion of Transfiguration. When, O Christ our God, thou wast transfigured on the mountain, thou didst reveal thy glory to thy disciples in proportion as they could bear it. Let thine everlasting light also enlighten us sinners, through the intercessions of the Theotokos, O thou bestower of light, glory to thee.
So one thing about tone 7, as Zayna just showed us so perfectly, is one thing to keep in mind is that tone 7 really stays up. So if we think about that scale, tone 7 is based off the Ga, and it hangs out a lot on the Zo, which is up high. So ni ga, da 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 da. Now sometimes it will dip down, but it will go down gradually. And just as a teaser, because next week we're going to talk about tone 8, tone 8, at least troparia tone 8, sounds very similar, but there's a difference in that tone 8 will dip. And we'll get into that next week. But for tone 7 will go down gradually if it goes down. So da 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 da. And so it might go down a little bit, but it typically hangs out in that upper part of the scale. So Zayna, I think you have another one that's in tone 7 for us.
I do. Another one in tone 7 that we have is the troparia for the resurrection in tone 7. Thou didst shatter death by thy cross, thou didst open paradise to the thief, thou didst turn the sadness of the ointment-bearing women into joy.
And I just want to cut you off right there, Zayna, because you just did an awesome example of what I just talked about. And that is that tone 7, when it does go down in the scale, it goes down gradually. So looking at the music here, of the ointment bearing women into joy, da 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 da. It doesn't dip, it goes down in succession, just like Zayna just did. And also the rest of the hymn, as you've heard, she's hanging out up top in that upper part of the scale. Thou didst shatter death by thy cross, thou didst open paradise to the thief. So it has that really bright sound at the upper half of the scale. All right, Zane, if you don't mind just singing through again, and I won't cut you off this time.
Okay. Thou didst shatter death by thy cross, thou didst open paradise to the thief, thou didst turn the sadness of the ointment-bearing women into joy, and didst bid thine apostles proclaim a warning, that thou hast risen, O Christ, granting to the world the great mercy.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Zayna. So that's a really good example of tone 7 that we have for the troparion of the resurrection. Now we're going to go ahead, just like we've done every week, we're going to go ahead and do Lord, I Have Cried from Vespers in tone 7. So if you want to pause it and open that up in the service book that we have online, you can do that now. And then we'll go ahead and do some verses for you all to chant. And I should mention that whenever we do the verses in Vespers, we only do about half of them for these videos. And we do that on purpose because we want you to get the tones in your head and then continue singing those verses and practice them yourselves. And you can always go back and rewind to the parts that we've sung so that you can have some examples, but then go ahead and practice yourself too. So we'll go ahead and start. And again, the way we get into tone 7 with that apikima, Niga. I'm actually going to take it up just about a half step there, just to get a little brighter sound, and it's a little more comfortable for me at least. Niga. O Lord, I have cried out unto thee. Hear thou me. Hear thou me, O Lord. O Lord, I have cried out unto thee. Hear thou me. Give ear to the voice of my supplication when I cry out unto thee. Hear thou me, O Lord.
Let my prayer be set forth before thee as the incense and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. Hear thou me, O Lord.
Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth, and a door round about my lips.
Incline not my heart unto evil words, to make excuses in sins.
With men that work iniquity, and I will not communicate with the choicest of them.
The just man shall correct me in mercy, and shall reprove me. But let not the oil of the sinner anoint my head.
For my prayer also shall still be against the things which with they are well pleased. Their judges falling upon the rock have been swallowed up.
They shall hear my words, for they are sweet, as when the thickness of the earth is broken upon the ground. Their bones are scattered by the side of hell.
But to thee, O Lord, are mine eyes. In thee have I put my trust. Take not away my soul.
Keep me from the snare which they have laid for me, and from the traps of workers of iniquity.
Let the wicked fall into their own nets, while I alone escape. So a couple of examples there, the things that we just did, was we did a lot of word or text painting that we've talked about in the past couple of weeks. And just a couple of examples. For instance, the very last one that I just did, let the wicked fall into their own nets. So on the word fall, I made my voice fall. Fall into their own nets. Earlier I had done, where is it? Earlier I had done one, for my prayer shall still be against the things which with they are well pleased. Their judges falling upon the rock. So again, on the word falling upon the rock, I went down with my voice. And then of course, we always go up whenever we sing I cried. I cried unto the Lord with my voice unto the Lord have I made my supplication. So hopefully by now you're starting to get it in your head and get that melody and that tone 7 in your mind. Uh, and it's really special. It's really beautiful. And also another thing I wanted to point out that Zayna did really well in the verse. So if you noticed when she chanted the verse, "They shall hear my words, for they are sweet," it's a really long verse. And so rather than just keep it going and keep it going, Zayna actually kind of did 2 verses in that one because she kind of ended it in the middle. So if you go back and listen, one thing she did was, "They shall hear my words, for they are sweet as when the thickness of the earth is broken up upon the ground." She almost finished, she kind of finished the verse there. And then she kind of did another one. "Their bones are scattered by the side of hell." There's absolutely nothing wrong with that because when we have a really long verse, sometimes we kind of have to finish it in the middle and then keep going. What is important is if you are going to finish or whenever you rest on the text, make sure that you're resting at the end of a phrase. So whenever you see a comma or a period, you never want to rest like on the word like to, to, or something in the middle of a phrase because it just doesn't make sense to those praying along and those listening. So these are just kind of little tips to kind of keep in mind for us as we practice our chanting and work on that. And thank you, Zaina, for doing that so well for us. It was really a good example for us all to learn from.
Well, I think that's all we have for Tone 7 this week. Be sure to tune in next week for Tone 8.
Also one of my favorites. We're excited. All right. Thank you so much, guys. We love you. We miss you. And next week will be our last one, and we'll finish up with Tone 8. And all right, Billy, say goodbye. All right. Thanks, everyone.